Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? I am Chad from CD Shave, and thank you very much for joining me tonight for another video. Now, as you can see, I've already shaved. I had a fantastic shave, and I was thinking a lot about different things and different topics, and been on the forums a little bit last couple of days. And, you know, I had a great shave. Tonight was just an awesome shave. My face feels like glass. The dome's all set, ready to go. I was just about to start my post-shave. You know, I had an awesome shave with some awesome products for some awesome vendors. I mean, from some awesome artisans. And that got me to thinking about tonight and what I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about some of the, address a little bit of an issue. Not an issue, but a topic. Topic to the new people. Because when I first started, I was a little overwhelmed. One of the things that overwhelmed me was the topic of soaps. Everybody tells you to get yourself a brush, get yourself a soap, get yourself one of these, or a straight edge. Start shaving. Start shaving right, they say. It feels better, they say. And it does. Best shave of your life. A little bit of a learning curve, though, isn't it? In fact, when I first started looking around for my first soap, a little intimidating, or overwhelming, I should say. You hit the market, and there is literally hundreds and hundreds of artisans, companies, people out there just selling their product. Some are brand new to the market. Some have been around for over 100 years. Some have been around for 50. So you say to yourself, well, geez, where do I go? What do I choose? And you know what? To somebody that may not be up on their senses, or their sense, meaning, you know, should I pick a Fougere versus, you know, something with some, you know, woodsy scents, or would I be better off going with something with a floral scent? You don't know. And let's face it, as cheap as some of the soap can be, you don't want to be wasting your money. So, tonight, I want to address some of that with you. Try to help you out a little bit, at least based on my experience. And what I did was I went out and I looked at a bunch of reviews, and somebody chose a soap. They said this was my favorite, and I bought it. Wasn't that much money, and it did work great. Wasn't the best choice for me. What I didn't do, what I didn't think about, was this right here. My skin. What type of skin type, or what type of skin do I have? Do I have oily skin? Do I have dry skin? Do I have sensitive skin? Then on top of that, what type of beard do you have? Is it generally a soft beard? Is it like beard of, you know, copper wire and nails? I had the sensitive skin, and basically it was like steel wool coming out of there, man. It wasn't curly, but it just straight and tough to cut. Kind of a shitty combination. So, I had to choose a soap. And there's a scene in one of my favorite movies, Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade. At the end, dude with the beard looked at the bad guy after he drank from the chalice, or what he thought it was. Guy turned all old and fell apart. The guy sat there and looked at the camera and said he chose poorly. That's how I felt. Now, I didn't really choose poorly, but because in fact I still have that soap, which I'm not going to get into which one it was, but it's in my shaving den and I still use it today. I just use it on my head rather than my face. Anyway, having said that, choose a shaving soap, in my opinion, that's been around for a long time. Don't quite worry about the scent. Worry about the performance. The scent can come later. There are hundreds of scents out there that you can choose from. Combinations. You can get into that. First, grab a soap that's been around for over 100 years. And for me, you know, I'm not here to recommend, you know, a specific soap per se, but honestly, Parasso. These guys have been around forever. I think, if my memory serves, it's like 1908 or something like that. I grabbed a soap, of my first Parasso soap, which was the white, for two reasons. One, they've been around forever, and two, that particular formula was known for sensitive skin, which I had. I didn't even care what the scent was like. Could have smelled like dog shit for all I cared. I just wanted to be able to shave without my face going to hell. And it worked. Now, if you're looking for something that absolutely provides slickness, look into what would work for you in that respect. Look at what has the best reputation for having slickness. Parasso is one of them. There are others that have their own reputations for different properties. Now, what you want to look at, in my opinion, something that provides cushion. How dense is the lather? Okay, when you put it on there, can you see splotches of your skin? Are there air bubbles? And does the soap just not lather right? Now that can be a combination of poor ingredients and a combination of the person not knowing how to make a proper lather, either adding too much or not enough water. That also takes some time. You're going to have to practice with this. I suggest making some practice lathers on your hand a couple times, or even in a bowl. Get yourself, it doesn't have to even be a shaving bowl, as it were. Get yourself a cereal bowl or a Japanese soup bowl. That's all this is. And it's got the nice lip on the bottom because it's meant to drink out of. You can hold it like this and put it up to your mouth, but it provides a good grip so you don't drop it while you're shaving either. Now, having said that, so find a soap that from what the research you can do on your own, has a tendency to have a good amount of cushion, reputation for it. Slickness. You don't just want to take your finger and say, yeah, that's slick. I can feel that. That's crazy slick. It's all about how the razor slides across the skin. You want to be able to feel that razor go across your skin but not skip or jump. That's bad. You don't want that razor running into a lot of resistance. So you want to find one that has slickness. Ease of loading. It's going to be your first soap. You probably want to get a soap that has a reputation, or at least in your opinion, has a reputation for ease of loading. It's less aggravation for you when you're trying to make your first lather. Now, having said that, some people out there say that creams are easier for loading because there really isn't a loading process, really. You just squirt it on there and it's loaded. The fuck? So, there you go on that. Something you may want to consider. Ease of making a lather. Try finding a soap that's known for being very forgiving when it comes to water versus soap ratios. Something that will generally throw you a good lather, even if you do give it a little bit too much water because you're inexperienced and you're learning. And you know what? You may make a couple of lathers that turn out really crappy, and they don't, and they're watery, they're running down your arm. You're like, what am I doing wrong? It's okay. It's fine. Everybody that starts this screws something up, whether it's the way their angle is on the razor, whether it's putting the razor together, whether it's making a lather. Everybody screws up a lather, and even some of the best of them, some of the most experienced guys out there have a lather fail. It just happens. You're tired, you put too much water in it, you're not paying attention, or it's a new soap, for what have you. So, ease of lather. Look for something that's known to be forgiving. Then you want to look at bowl versus face. Do I want a face lather? Well, if you have sensitive skin, you may want to start off with a bowl lather or start off with a hand lather. You can lather in your hand just like you can in a bowl. And in some ways, it's more preferable because you get the lines here, and when you're taking that brush and you're going along, the lines will help agitate the soap. You curve your hand just a tad like a bowl, and you go to town. And you'll get a huge puff of lather, and you're ready to go. And you can just take that, put it all in the brush, and then just proceed to put it on your face, right? If you have sensitive skin, and depending on what you have for a brush, if you end up with a brush that's kind of low quality because it's your first one, you didn't really know what you were doing, and you bought one that you thought would be all right, and it's not, This was my first brush. This feels a little bit like a cactus to me now. First time I used it, I was like, wow, this thing's awesome, rock and roll. You know, didn't really pay attention to the fact that as I could see the skin through the shaving cream turning red from being scratched by this. But now I just kind of keep it for sentimental purposes, I guess. So you want something that you want to probably learn the practice of bowl lathering or hand lathering first. Worry about the face lathering later. I just started face lathering a couple of months ago, and that was strictly for convenience purposes. I still bowl lather every now and again. I like making a huge lather of cream and having it going over the top. It's great. I like it. It's a lot. It's fun to me. It's relaxing to me. And that's what all this is all about, right? It's not supposed to be stressful. So you're getting into it, relax. Don't make a huge deal out of choosing a soap. It's not that big of a deal. You just have to take into consideration one thing and one thing only. You. Not everyone out there, not the biggest star in wet shaving, not what this guy says here or this girl says here about her stuff. It's all about you. Number one. And how the soap is going to treat your skin. Don't worry about what it smells like. That'll come later. Now, cream versus soap versus croap. One of these three, there's a large amount of debate that surrounds. Soap is simple. It's like a bar of soap, except it usually comes in a container or a puck. You unwrap the puck, usually comes in cellophane or some type of not wax paper, but paper wrapping. If it just comes in a puck, you can take it, slap it in a bowl. What I would do is maybe wet it a little bit and mash it down inside that bowl so it fits nice and tight in there. And don't expect to use that bowl for a damn thing until that puck is gone, because you're not going to be pulling the thing in and out of there. You're going to mash it in there, leave it in there, ready to go. Now, soaps are great. I love soaps. You can get all different kinds of formulas, all different kinds of scents that are out there. But like I said, find one that coincides with whatever skin type you think you have. Don't go with what other people say either. You don't want somebody to tell you, "Oh, you got real sensitive skin. Remember that time, you wore that cologne and you broke out, bro? Oh yeah, your skin's wicked sensitive." No, go with what you think. If you think you have sensitive skin, then get something for sensitive skin. If it's made for sensitive skin, it's not going to hurt you. Okay, it may not smell like what you want, but don't worry about that. Use it to make. It's going to be a forgiving soap. It's going to be the soap that allows you to make mistakes. It's the rule-breaking soap. I have a soap in my collection that I refer to it as the rule breaker, because I can screw up pretty much as I want with it, and that soap takes care of me. So think about that. Soaps are known for that. Creams, not so much. And this is all my opinion. Creams tend to be a little bit harder to dial in. However, they're kind of ready to go. So if you grab that, the creams, some creams require very little to no water. Others do require the same amount of water you'd put in them as you'd put in a standard soap. So you go to put in your water and you may over dial it. And so what? It's shaving soap or cream. Who cares? Throw it out, start again. It's going to happen. You're going to make mistakes. Now, you also can get yourself what's known as a croap, which I'm sure I don't have to tell you is a combination of a cream and a soap. Rather soft. To me, it's kind of like this consistency of Noxzema hand cream. Usually comes in a blue jar, and you can open it up, and it's almost like a waxy consistency. That, for me, that's what I think of when I think of a croap. Croaks, I have found, tend to be pretty easy to lather for me. I can dial them in pretty well. That's something you may want to consider, is how much time you want to spend in figuring this out. You will figure it out. It may take some time, but it's okay that it does. Everyone's all about learning, and everyone out there, people are there to help you. They want you to learn. They want you to be a part of this fantastic group. So, and this fantastic hobby. So, Croaks are good. They're, in my opinion, they're kind of forgiving, as are creams. Soaps, if you get a hard puck, they can be difficult to lather. Now, the other thing you want to take into consideration is what kind of water you have. I don't mean well versus city. I mean hard versus soft. Harder water, from what I understand, I don't have hard water and I haven't, but from what I understand, hard water makes it very difficult to lather a lot of tallow-based soaps. Tallow is beef or animal fat. And soaps that have that in it, for whatever reason, I don't know, don't really mix well with hard water. So think about that. If you have hard water, you can always use the bottled stuff to make your lathers with. You totally do that. For me, that's a pain in the ass. So I wouldn't do that. I would probably stick with vegan or just get creams or Croaks. So, now, another thing you got to take into consideration, once you choose your soap and you decide this is the one I'm going to go with, then comes to bloom or not to bloom. This is another subject of high debate. A lot of people out there, they just can't settle on it at all. Some people will tell you that you should bloom every soap you do or you use. Other people will tell you it hurts the soap or it destroys the soap. I've heard that before. I don't think it destroys the soap. I think it basically blooming just gets it ready to work. If you go in the shower before you turn the water on and you grab the soap off the soap dish that was in there from yesterday, what does it feel like to you? Well, it's typically dry, right? Usually it's stuck to the soap dish, and you pick it up and it either breaks up and goes flying over your head, or the whole soap dish comes up off the shower and you're looking at it swearing and you start yelling at the kids and all that other stuff. Anyway, so same thing with this stuff. It dries. So what happens if you jump in the shower and you take a dry bar of soap and try to lather it on a dry body? Even on your wet body, it's not really going to work all that well. You need to get the soap wet, right? Same thing with these. You got to get them wet. You got to get them ready to use. You do that by blooming it. You take the soap, take some hot water, throw it in there. You want to put in more than just enough to cover it, especially with a puck like this. I've had it happen time and time again. I'll put in just enough to cover the top because, I'm trying to save water or what have you. And I come out of the shower and it's completely absorbed into the soap. Oops. Soap's still kind of soft, but there's no bloom water on there for me to throw on my face, which I like to do. So think about that. Once it's bloomed, that brush will take that soap in a lot easier because it's wet. It's just like the shower. You take that soap and you run your hand across it kind of hard. After it's wet, that soap comes off in your hand, right? Same thing will happen with this. Okay? So you want to think about whether or not you're going to bloom or not. And you know what? Try it both ways. If you think I'm full of it, or you say to yourself, I bet I can do it better than he can, go ahead. Try doing it without blooming it and see what happens. Some soaps you can actually, in my opinion, do that with. Katie's Bubbles is one of them. I really don't know what it is about Katie's Bubbles that allows you to do that, but I have literally thrown my wet brush on a dry puck of Katie's Bubbles and it lathers just fine. And I haven't had that much success doing that with Sterling's. But it's not a big deal because I really don't mind blooming. I got to take a shower anyway. It's nothing to throw water on the puck and jump in the shower. So try to get yourself in the habit of doing that, at least in the beginning. You can choose not to bloom later on once your skills get up to speed. Now, there are different ways to bloom a soap. You can take the soap, throw it in a bag, and throw it in the hot water and let it sit in the hot water. That's a dry bloom, and let the heat get into it and bloom it that way. It doesn't make it wet, but it makes the soap, it makes the aromas come out, and it makes the soap. It does make the soap ready to go. I don't think that works as well as putting water on the soap, but that is a method that some people choose to use, and they favor it quite a bit. So that's my opinion on soaps. Make sure you choose one that follows all the cushion, the slickness, the ease of loading, ease of lather. Don't worry about the scent that comes later. Choose a soap that's going to work well for your skin. And your first wet shaving experience, excuse me, will be a good one. And it'll be your first of many to come. That's my opinion from Chad at CD Shave. And if you guys have any questions, please leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you guys shave tonight, I hope you have a great shave. Hope you guys have a great rest of the night. And thanks very much for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, throw me a sub. Subscribe. Put you on the list, get you on board, and get you notified of any videos to come. So thanks very much. We'll see you guys next video. Have a good night.